is no place like the Q. Family, this is your favorite queer radio personality, Anna DeShawn, and this is Queer News, your favorite weekly news pod where race and sexuality meet politics, culture, and entertainment. This is your number one stop for queer news done right, only on E3 Radio.
That man has constitutional rights.
Now, I was handcuffed. I was threatened with arrest. I was told by a Border Patrol agent that they don't need a signed judicial warrant for anyone that's illegal and that they can sort of do what they want. I mean, I have to admit, in that moment of being handcuffed, I was scared. Well, community is saying, don't you worry, we're here to have you back.
And Chicago's been showing up. And to your point, I'm glad everybody got their phones out. The family, that was Alderperson Jessie Fuentes of the 26th Ward here in Chicago. And I had the opportunity to speak with her last week as she broke the news that she was filing a federal lawsuit. A federal lawsuit, yes, against ICE. We talk about it later in the episode, so stay close so you can hear all the details. And if you want to hear the whole interview, it's right here on this feed. So when you get done with this episode, go binge that one or watch it on YouTube. The link, you already know, is in the show notes. QCrew, thank you for your continued commitment to helping us sustain this podcast. Without you, this doesn't happen, okay? So if you believe in the work we do, if you believe LGBTQ stories need to be amplified, if you love and respect how I report on the news and tell our stories, join the QCrew, okay? Starts as low as $5 a month. A link is in the show notes, okay? And don't forget about the Queer News tip line. We actually got a Queer News tip today, and y'all won't believe. The Queer News tip is coming from Germany. That's what I'm talking about. We worldwide. So are you an artist? Do you have an organization? Is there a local news story not getting enough amplification? Send me a Queer News tip. I want to amplify it right here on the pod. And happy LGBTQ History Month, family. You already know every week we've been highlighting a new person, a place, an event. And today, we'd like to mention a little piece of history from our community here in Chicago. For this final week, I'd like to shout out the organizers of the Slow Mo Party, okay? A monthly party here in Chicago that centers queer artists and attendees. This past Saturday marked their last party for a while as the team rests and recalibrates for 2026. Slow Mo was founded in 2011 by Kristen Kaza, who's a good friend, and since then has been hosting monthly parties centered around creating a space and community where queer folks could thrive. Although the monthly parties are coming to an end, the organizers have said they plan to reunite in 2026 to celebrate their 15th year anniversary. Family, parties, bars, this has been where we have found community, and Slow Mo has done an amazing job of that right here in the city of Chicago. So we want to show them so much love as they turn the page on this particular chapter. But to know Kristen Kaza is to know, okay? There's more chapters to be written. Congratulations, Slow Mo. Now for the news. Our top story today mourns the life of Tiara Love Tori Jackson, a black trans woman whose life was taken too soon. In politics, I share the details of Alderperson Jessie Fuentes' lawsuit against the federal government. And good news, can you believe it? Minnesota's Supreme Court ruled in favor of a trans athlete. Yeah, you heard me right, in favor of a trans athlete. Then in culture and entertainment, we take a look across the United States at the assault on our crosswalks, as well as uplift our siblings on the Out 100 list for 2025. Let's get into it. Tiara Love Tori Jackson, we speak your name today. Tiara was a 37-year-old black trans woman who was shot and killed in a hotel in Charlotte, North Carolina on Friday, September 26th. And I am still just blown away that it takes so much time for these stories to actually make it to the surface. We're reporting on this a month later, and I promise y'all, I just saw this story last week. Tiara, born September 14th, 1988, is remembered by her loved ones as, quote, always unapologetically her authentic self, creative, warm, and humorous. She was a nurse and an award-winning ballroom member in her community. The Director of Public Policy and Programs for NBJC, Victoria Kirby York, had this to say about Tiara's passing. My spirit grieves for Tiara and the profound loss felt by those who love her. On social media, Tiara talked about this year being one of the hardest of her life and had recently asked her loved ones for financial support. All black women are under unprecedented attack in the workplace and by elected leaders, with women of transgender experience facing additional hurdles that too often leave them with few safe employment options to survive. We must ensure the trans community has easy access to culturally competent resources that will alleviate bias-driven struggles surrounding employment, housing, and community support. Family, the police have arrested and charged 33-year-old Darius D. Martin with murder and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Reports are saying that they believe that they were having an argument at this hotel room, but no other details have been released yet. Vigils are being held in Tiara's honor in both Michigan and North Carolina, as well as online for anyone who'd like to pay their respects. Tiara Love Tori Jackson, we speak your name today. In politics, we broke a story last week out of Chicago that hits at the heart of constitutional rights and community protection. Chicago Alderperson Jessie Fuentes of the 26th Ward is taking on the federal government, filing a lawsuit after she was assaulted and handcuffed by ICE agents while advocating for a constituent in her ward. Alderperson Fuentes is one of our 9 LGBTQ alders here in the city. And if you didn't know, those 9 make us the gayest city council in the country. So we must protect her at all costs. You hear me? You feel me? Now, this incident captured in a viral video on October the 3rd began when Alderperson Fuentes responded to a call from Humboldt Park Health Hospital. She arrived to find ICE agents in the emergency room and began questioning if they had a signed judicial warrant for a patient they had detained. You heard a little bit of that at the very top of the show, family. Now, the situation escalated so fast, and before her staffer even began recording, Fuentes says she was shoved by a masked agent. The video shows the tense moments that followed where she was handcuffed and threatened with arrest simply for asking a question. Do you have a signed judicial warrant for this patient? And now, Fuentes is fighting back in court. She has filed a federal tort suit, a civil lawsuit against the federal government for assault, battery, and false arrest. The goal is accountability. And she said in our interview, if they're going to believe they're above the law, then we're going to have to deal with the law. This lawsuit aims to hold the entire department accountable for what she calls a pattern of violating people's constitutional rights. Fuentes acknowledges that while the experience was frightening, it's crucial to act. She told us, we can't lead with fear. Although it's scary times, it is extremely important for us right now to continue to lead with courage. She is hoping that her actions can be an example for others who feel helpless against ICE, using her platform to fight back against what she describes as fascism on our streets. Family, since this incident, the Chicago community has shown an incredible outpouring of solidarity and support. Rapid responders are being trained to document ICE activity. Mutual aid funds are supporting families, and neighbors are creating safe passage for children to get to school. Family, as I watch these videos every day on social media, my heart breaks. Finding ways to support the businesses in these communities is critical for us. And what Chicago is doing is a sign. Yeah, it's a powerful reminder of the collective strength we have to face this intimidation. This intimidation that comes with quotas from the highest levels of our federal government that also come with production teams that follow them around to capture it for their own propaganda. Family, it feels like we're living in hell. And somehow, Chicago and Chicagoans are finding ways every day to fight back. As for the constituent Fuentes was there to protect, he has since undergone reconstructive leg surgery, and after initially being denied, now has access to a legal team. For those who want to get involved, Alderperson Fuentes encourages us to get trained as rapid responders and to know our rights. Now, this is a developing story, and we'll continue to stay in touch with the Alderperson's office about the lawsuit as it moves through the administrative process. But I hope that this is an example of how we can fight back. We'll see what happens next. Family, for our last political story of the day, let me tell y'all something. We got some good news. There is good news to share, and I'm here to yell it from the mountaintops because it just feels like there's so far few and in between. But we got good news today. The Minnesota Supreme Court unanimously, and you heard me, unanimously ruled in favor of trans athlete Jessie Cooper after she was discriminated against during a women's powerlifting competition. The organization known as USA Powerlifting barred Jessie from competing in their competitions, which was ruled to be a violation of Minnesota's Human Rights Act. Jessie's case was 6 years in the making, 6 years, as the competition she was barred from happened back in 2019. The local county judge ruled in her favor, but the Minnesota Supreme Court didn't decide to hear her case until July of 2024. This ruling, family, is important because it confirms that, at least in the state of Minnesota, the Human Rights Act protects transgender people from discrimination based on their sexual orientation. And honestly, family, given the way things are going, we're gonna take it, okay? We're gonna take it that in Minnesota, our trans civs, yes, have protections. Now, an issue is that no expansive protection for trans folks was ordered. So for now, things will be ruled upon on a case-by-case basis, which makes this all so arduous. This is why we must support organizations like Land Illegal and NCLR, because they are fighting in the courts every single day on a case-by-case basis. This is part of the strategy. Now, there is a concern voiced by the Supreme Court that a company could raise a, quote, legitimate business reason to prevent trans athletes from competing in women's sports, but no official ruling was made on that during this case because U.S. Powerlifting failed to bring it up. Now, the attorney for U.S. Powerlifting says that they plan to play that card when they challenge the district. They said, quote, absolutely, and because we think we've got a bona fide business reason, which is maintaining fairness in competition. Former USA Powerlifting President Larry Malley said, quote, I would also point out that we have multiple competition categories, and they're based on age and scholastic status, ability level, and particular lifts. So we make distinctions among different routes based on the possibility of an equal footing for everybody. Now, Jess Braverman. Jess is the legal director at Gender Justice. They argue that what they, meaning USA Powerlifting, could do with the opening the court gave them is really limited. It would only apply to the business claim, not to the public accommodations claim. The public accommodations claim will not be unraveled. These two are separate claims. And so even if they win on the second, it does not change the fact that they discriminated and it was illegal. Family, the legal circus that is happening around our rights today is wild. And yet I am grateful for the legal minds that are fighting in the courts every day. These are two different claims, business versus public accommodations. And no matter what, in Minnesota, they stood strong by our trans civs and said, not here, not today. So we will keep following the developments of this case as well, because we just know how imperative it is for our trans siblings to be able to have equity and equality as they just try to live out their full lives. And every time I report about trans folks in sports, I want to continue to reiterate the fact that there is no scientific claim that our trans sibs have any advantage. They have any advantage when competing in sports. Truly, we are fighting against ignorance. And I mean ignorance at its most basic definition. Lack of understanding when it comes to our trans sibs in sports. I think it's a great time to take a quick break, huh? Let's take a quick break when we get back. Let's get into some culture and entertainment.
Hi, Anna and Queer News community. My name is Monet and my pronouns are he, him. I am dialing in from Germany, but everything that I do is done virtually and accessible to our rainbows around the globe through my Radiant Hearts Transformation Program. Dear rainbows, if you've ever found yourself stuck in the same heartbreak, stuck in patterns that just refuse to shift, chasing emotional unavailability, or struggling to trust that you are enough and lovable, I get it. I've been there so many times too. Today, as a rapid transformational therapy practitioner and queer relationship coach, I support our beloved queer people in decoiling those old stories and start building on a life of self-love and genuine possibility. If that speaks to you, I would be delighted to do a free consultation. There's no pressure, just an open conversation of what's ahead for you. You can contact me at rainbowjourney.co. And actually, no matter where you are along the way, you don't have to go through it alone. You can change your reality and you belong here. Thank you, Anna, so much for the amazing space that you have created for our voices to be heard and stay connected.
Family, something magical happens when your outside matches your inside. I got to experience that magic when I put on my first Kieran Finch outfit. They make menswear inspired apparel for women, trans, and non-binary folks like me, maybe like you. Clothes that actually fit our bodies and our truth. And get this, because we're family, you can get 20% off your order with the code Anna D this month, just this month. So go visit KieranFinch.com and use the code Anna D. You won't be disappointed. Family, welcome back to the show. Now let's jump into some culture and entertainment. For our first culture story, I've just been taken aback by the number of stories I've been seeing around our crosswalks, our pride crosswalks, being taken up across the country. We all know the harmful legislation that's been going on against our trans civs and against our humanity nonstop for years. It's truly been unparalleled. And now we're in a season of these attacks impacting things like our crosswalks. Crosswalks of all things. I mean, it is a continuation of their plan to erase us from public life rights. So let's just break down real quick the onslaught. The onslaught of crosswalks. Yes, in Texas, we know Governor Abbott called for the removal of these crosswalks in 30 days. And if a city, yes, in Texas refuses, you know what happens? It's the same playbook over and over. Say it with me, they will lose their funding. They will lose their funding. And this time exactly for what? This time it's for federal road funding and suspension of agreements with the Texas Department of Transportation. Like, this is how they are impacting our culture. So crosswalks are being pulled up in the middle of the night. Now, in response, members of the Oaklawn United Methodist Church in Dallas spent their Tuesday repainting the steps of their church to the colors of the rainbow in direct support of the LGBTQI+ community, okay? Senior pastor Rachel Griffin Allison said, quote, all of this is really so much more about showing love to the people than it is about a response to the governor. But Pastor, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna take it as a response to the governor because those rainbows on those stairs, if you haven't seen the family, they're absolutely beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. You can't miss them. And for now, those rainbow steps are being protected by security guards day and night. Steps need security guards. This is where we're at. is where our culture is at. Now we go down to Florida. Miami is the latest city to lose their rainbow crosswalks. Miami has an iconic rainbow crosswalk designed by the Savio and Miller Design Studio. It was located in the Ocean Drive Entertainment District and was paved over earlier this month in accordance with the Department of Transportation's order for all surface art in relation to, quote, social, political, or ideological messages or images and does not serve the purpose of traffic control be removed. According to Miami Beach Commissioner Alex Fernandez, some of the pavement stones have been collected by city employees so that parts of the crosswalk can be preserved and hopefully repurposed in the future. But family, let me tell you, if you look at these videos, they are destroying. They're destroying these crosswalks. In an interview with AP, Fernandez says this represented decades of people who endured housing discrimination, expulsion from the military, workplace discrimination, the stigma of HIV and AIDS, the fight for marriage equality, and all the hard-won battles that took the LGBTQ community from being marginalized to now being a visible, celebrated part of the community. And that's what they're doing now. That's what they're doing now, family. And then if we go to Phoenix, they canceled their long-running LGBTQI+ film festival. The fest said this year's cancellation was in direct response to an executive order signed by Trump. But all of this isn't the final word, family. This isn't where the story ends. In response to Phoenix canceling their film festival, New York's LGBTQ film festival, New Fest, stepped in. They have granted Arizonians free virtual access to a selection of films. New Fest programming director Nick McCarthy said this: "What we want to do is be inspired by the work that we are seeing, to really reflect the moment as opposed to prescribe a moment. It's been exciting this year to see so many projects that show, I think, perseverance within our community, but also the concept of breaking through." Family, we're supporting each other. Phoenix canceled, and New York said, "We got you." And I love to see it. Even if we go back to Florida, that restaurant 7 Bites, when they turned their private parking lot into a canvas for artists to celebrate LGBTQ life, yes, the owner called the initiative Parking Space for Pride, a rainbow connection. The owner, Trina Gregory, received over 1,000 applications to participate, and she only got 49 spots. So I'm just saying, if you live in or around Orlando, go support this restaurant, 7 Bites, okay? Because they're supporting us. So as legislative powers that be try to erase us from culture and from our crosswalks and from our film festivals, we will support each other every step of the way. The people are going to show up. You can't do it in public space. We're going to do it where we own. We're going to do it in our private spaces. We're going to turn our church steps into rainbow crossing walks. We're going to turn our parking lots into rainbows. This is how we preserve our culture, family, in this moment. They can do whatever they try to do to erase us, but they can't. We aren't going anywhere. Period. I mean, it's literally just that simple. And for our final story today in culture and entertainment, the annual Out 100 list has been released for the year. Since 1994, Out has compiled the top 100 impactful and influential LGBTQ+ people, and this year, readers of the prestigious publication got to nominate and choose who should make the list. Divided into 6 categories: artists, disruptors, educators, groundbreakers, innovators, and storytellers. We chose a few people to highlight. Okay, first off, we got to give love to the folks coming out of Chicago, okay? Precious Brady Davis, the first out trans woman elected, okay? And holds public office in Cook County, Illinois, yes, with the Water Reclamation District. Precious is family around here, and we can't be happier for her. And then we must also celebrate Jolie Angel Robinson, the CEO of Center on Halsted. It's our largest community center in the Midwest, serving LGBTQ folks, and it's housed right here in Chicago. We are lucky, okay? You understand? Lucky to have Jolie as a part of our community here. And we got to show love to the Stubbuds, okay? Courtney and T made the Out 100 list. Y'all know we are fans of the Stubbuds around here. They have made us proud this year as they've grown a lot on and off the court. They say, most importantly, streaming has let us hit bigger stages to represent the gay and mass community. It's rare to see this kind of representation, and they are proud to be that for us. Yes, Stubbuds, okay? We also want to show love to the president of the National LGBTQ+ Task Force, Kiara Johnson, who made the innovator list this year. Kiara said, "My life's work has been about creating a world where we are all able to think, move, live, and love freely." She's currently prepping for 2026 Creating Change, and we'll be there, family, in Washington, D.C., so get your tickets, okay? And then hot on her continued live from the Swamp Tour, Doechii. Okay, Doechii made the list this year. Of course she did. This has been a huge year for her at the Grammys, her successful tour, and headlining at this year's World Pride in D.C. Doechii is that girl, okay? And we also want to highlight Amber Ruffin. She made the Disruptors list, acknowledged for the headline she made when she was removed from a job at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and she has this advice to share during these times. Quote, "It's a great time to try and become rooted in happiness. We are about to need it." The Second City alum came out as queer during Pride Month in 2024, encouraging folks to be proud of who they are, and she is, and quipping, "I can't wait to be discriminated against for a new reason." We love Amber Ruffin around here. So family, if you want to check out the full list of Out 100, visit out.com. And family, congratulations to everybody that made the list. It's time for Anna's Got a Word, because Anna's always got a word. And family, my word today is to draw the circle wider. It's a beautiful song I learned some years ago at a church I used to attend. And in this moment, I'm really sitting with that, because as I was interviewing Alderperson Fuentes, and I asked her, what do you tell people in this moment who feel like what's happening with ICE and what's happening with our Latina sibs is not their problem? That is not their issue. That it's not something that they should be concerned about in this moment. And I want y'all to go listen to the full interview on YouTube to hear her exact response. But I want y'all to hear from me. Family, none of us are free until all of us are free. Our Latina sibs and their civil rights, if they don't have civil rights, we don't have civil rights. I really want you all to look introspectively and think about how you are drawing the circle wider in your own life every day. How are you caring about those who are being torn apart from their families? The stories are heartbreaking. And I also want us to think about drawing the circle wider as it pertains to our political viewpoints around this, the language that is used, the people that are being harmed. The system is broken. The immigration system in this country has been broken for decades. This is not a new issue. Deportations have been happening for decades in this country. But what is happening today? What is happening today is fascism on our streets and authoritarianism in front of our schools. What's happening today is not okay. And if you think it is, I really want you to search your heart. I really want you to get out of your echo chamber and find the stories of the people who are being impacted. And I promise you, your heart will be changed, because it is not okay. Family, draw the circle wider, okay? Till next week. Peace. If you've enjoyed what you heard, rate and review us inside your favorite podcasting app. This podcast is written and produced by me, Anna DeShawn. Podcast editing by Ryan Woodhall, and brought to you by E3 Radio and distributed on The Cube. We are Queer News Done Right.